Diane Bolin here. This week, we're going to look at the second in the foundational movements that our bodies can do. Last week, we looked at the squat and why it was important and how to modify it. And this week, we're going to look at the hip hinge. Now, the hip hinge is exactly what it sounds like. It's the muscles and joints that allow us to do this motion. The hip hinge motion is so important in our everyday lives. It allows us to pick things up safely, move things around safely. By strengthening our hip hinge muscles, we're protecting our back, improving our posture, and making sure that all of the movements, including anything required to lift our legs, we can continue to do as we age. So stay with me and I'll show you how the hip hinge works, how to strengthen it, and how to modify it. First, let's look at the proper posture for doing a hip hinge. I see so many people with rounded backs coming down with straight legs to pick things up. And we all know that's wrong, but I still see people do it. So let's review. We're going to have our feet somewhere between hip and shoulder distance apart. It depends on your personal anatomy. We're going to have 3 points of contact on our foot: our big toe, the side of our foot, and our heel. That will ensure that we have a bit of an arch in the arch of our foot where it belongs, and that we have a good solid base. Next, we're going to make sure that our knees are soft. Not bent, but soft, not locked back. So soft knees. When we do a hip hinge, it begins same motion as the squat. Our hip goes back as our torso comes forward and the back stays very flat. Now, the way I like to teach this is to have people go up and down and kind of follow the front part of their legs with their hands. Shoulders back, looking forward. This is called a good morning. One other thing to be aware of, keeping your neck neutral. And by that I mean, as you go down, you're looking at the floor in front of you, not craning your neck up like this. So keeping your neck in a neutral position. And the movement is using the quadriceps on the front of our leg, the hamstrings in the back of our leg, and our glutes. Also, believe it or not, is using our core. So all of those muscles go into the hip area, allow that joint system to function, and protect our spine while we're doing things. An easy way to determine if you're keeping your back flat is to find a stick of some sort. This happens to be one that's here in our studio. It's actually a martial arts tool, but you can use a broomstick, you can use a section of PVC pipe, anything that is flat and straight. And what you're going to do is hold it at the base of your spine right here and at the top of your spine, and your head will stay with it as you do that good morning motion. See, all the parts of my spine are staying connected with the stick. I'm not rounding like this. That's the difference. So that's a great way, if you're just starting out, to make sure that you're doing the motion correctly. And that's critical as we start to add weight, like picking things up. We want to make sure that we know the position correctly first. So practice it with your stick until you get it down. I recommend, with a good morning, doing 3 sets of 8 to 12. If you're just starting out, start out with 8, then take a rest, then do 8 more. If you're more advanced, you can move it up to 3 sets of 12. Keeping in mind that good mornings are slow. It's not like down and back as fast as you can. It's slowly down, really charging all of those muscle systems and back up. Once you master the proper position and the proper hip hinge using a good morning, we can move on to some deadlifts. I like to start people out with a deadlift using a resistance band, and I'll show you how that works. So this happens to be a loop band. You can use a TheraBand, whatever you have. What you're going to do is on the floor, you're going to get in that same stance. 3 points of contact on your foot, between shoulder and hip distance apart. This time we're going to start at the bottom. This is our ending point. Back flat, looking straight ahead, hips back, knees soft, not bent, it's not a squat. And then we're going to push through our heels and stand, and then let that band guide us back. Hips back first, back flat. This is what we call sometimes a suitcase deadlift. Because your weight is on both hands as if you were carrying 2 suitcases. And when you're down, you can let go of one side, come out. Start out with 3 sets of 5 to 8. As you become proficient at it and ensure that you're keeping your back flat and not rounded during those lifts, move on to a few more reps. When you've mastered that, we'll move on to using dumbbells. Moving up to a dumbbell suitcase deadlift, you want 2 dumbbells of the same weight, of course. Start out, if you've been doing the resistance band, start out with about somewhere between 5 and 8 pounds. Pick them up, you'll know if it's right for you. Get into our good stance position, 3 points of contact on that foot. Knees soft, hips back first, looking straight down at the floor out in front of you. And we're going to bring the dumbbells down to about knee height. Push through the heels and stand. Let the dumbbells guide us back down, just like we did the resistance band. Again, very slowly with these. This is not an aerobic exercise. We're building muscle strength here. If the weights you have seem too light or too heavy, make the adjustment that you need to. About 3 sets of 5 to 8 to start with, and then 8 to 12 as you get more proficient at it and get stronger. Adjust as you need to. You can add more sets or more reps, either way, whatever seems right for what you're feeling with your body and your progression. Once you've mastered the hip hinge, you're going to feel the quads in the front of your leg, the hamstrings in the back of your leg, even across your whole core and your glutes getting stronger. So getting up and down off the sofa will feel easier. Doing squats will be easier. Picking things up off the floor and even picking up your children or grandchildren will seem easier because you've now mastered the proper position and proper strength for that movement. So keep practicing and strengthen that hip hinge. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's number 2 in our series of the 6 foundational movements that we're looking at this month. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll have the 3rd one. It'll be a surprise. But practice these foundational movements. Use these movements in whatever workout scheme you do, whether it's just stretching in the morning, stretching in the evening, going to your gym, doing others of my videos. Look at the playlist. Check it out. And you'll find that everyday life becomes so much easier when you strengthen the muscles and joints that you need every day. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and drop comments below. I started this series on foundational movements because of a comment I got from one of my viewers. So I do listen and I do use them. So drop comments below. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if something worked for you. Let me know if you'd like something I haven't addressed. And most importantly, see you next week.